Hey everybody, Doug Reynolds here, your Sacramento area realtor. Today I'm sitting down with an excellent appraiser in the Sacramento area, Mr. Ryan Lundquist.
Well, hello.
You can check out his info at sacramentoappraisalblog.com. So we're talking about some different topics today. One thing I wanted to ask you, Ryan, is I know from a real estate agent standpoint, it's kind of this tough thing to sort of explain to both buyers and sellers that there's kind of a gray area when it comes to appraisals on maybe the property condition or also value. You could have 3 different appraisers do an appraisal on a property and you might get 3 little bit different prices.
Yeah.
They might also kind of look at the property a little bit differently or something. So
Sure.
Why would that happen? Why would one appraiser on the same property maybe call out or flag some things with the property and maybe another one might not or something? Why would that happen?
Sure. So yeah, it's a great mystery. So it's a fair question, and I get this a lot. Actually, when I visit real estate offices, someone will raise their hand just maybe and say, hey, I had 2 appraisals on the same property and they were $10,000 apart. You guys are so illegitimate. And one of the things I do, I say, how about this? Let me ask 10 people in this room to come up with the value on this property. How many different opinions do you think I would get? And the room falls silent because the answer is 10. Okay? And so I think one of the things we have to realize is that there is always a reasonable range of value. There's no such thing as the market saying this property is only worth $374,526. That is the only amount the market will pay. When in reality, we might line up 100 qualified buyers and we might look and think the market is really biting anywhere from 370 to 380 all day long. And so I think that it's humbling to look at the market that way, and we have to realize that, okay, if an appraiser comes in within a reasonable range, that's pretty decent. Let's call it that. Now, sometimes though, why are some appraisers calling for repairs and others not? Well, I think that in some senses, there is a little bit of gray on certain issues maybe. And so I can see where some appraisers might say, well, I think this is an issue at least the lender needs to investigate. Other times, I think some appraisers are maybe a little bit too liberal or a little bit too conservative. And so an appraiser might call for something that really doesn't need to be called. You know?
So there's a little bit of human element in that, I guess, as far as just your background, who knows what, but that there's humans doing these things, and so one might be a little bit more conservative and one might be a little bit more liberal on allowing something or not something, and so there's a human element in there. Is that what it is?
I think there's human element in the midst of standards, okay? If it's for a loan geared towards Fannie Mae has a seller's guide. It's really long. If you're looking for some great reading of hundreds of pages, check it out. There are standards in there that appraisers need to abide by. If it's for FHA, same thing. There's a FHA manual. And so in some senses, it's black and white because here are the things that appraisers need to look for. But I would say it's gray also because no property is just the same as the one next door. And so there's this subjective element where appraisers have to interpret standards and have to call for certain repairs, okay? Sometimes, I think unfortunately there are appraisers who maybe got used to the bubble years where just hitting the number or not being the eyes of the lender, and so they're not going to call anything out. Like I appraised something and clearly the roof was shot. Okay, I'm not a roofer, but I looked at that thing and said, that puppy is ready to go. And so what did I do? I put disclaimers in the report and I said, this thing needs a roof cert. Sure enough, the seller had 2 roofers out there. None of them would give a 2-year roof cert. What happens, and this was for a private appraisal, the property goes to the market and then the appraiser didn't mention anything at all. But clearly, I mean, roofers wouldn't do it. I'm looking at it with my own eyes. It was unfortunate that happened and kind of maybe a black eye for the industry in some senses. But the deal got done, right? Everyone was happy, but I think that happens sometimes. But other times, yeah, there's a human element where maybe you missed something. Okay, maybe you didn't see a certain something, or sometimes you find out more details later from a home inspection or the pest report. Whoa, there's $4,000 in pest damage? Okay, maybe I have to go revisit something or look at the property a little differently. So that's kind of my spiel.
Okay. Well, there you go. There's kind of your answer as to the nuances that go on with maybe 1 or 2 or 3 different appraisers. We're all going to have a little bit of variance there with it. It sounds like obviously there's not an exact number for a property. It's always kind of within a range of what the value would be, and so that's why 3 different people are going to come up with a little bit different of a number.
Yeah,
it all should be kind of in the same range.
And if I could say, I mean, is the number supported? That's the big question. Is it a reasonable number? Okay, that's really the question to answer. And so when you get an appraisal back as buyers, just ask yourself, does this make sense? If this property was relisted on the market, would someone else offer within this range? And then if so, the appraisers nailed it and got it right. And hopefully the market got it right in the first place, and the appraisers coming back and saying, yeah, you guys did a good job. Even if it's at the contract price, there's nothing wrong with reconciling the value right there, because if that contract price represents a reasonable position in the market, then I can't argue with that. I'm like, yeah, value is between $370 and $380. There were 3 offers on the property. You guys are in contract at $373. That sounds great to me.
Yeah.
Who am I to say $373, $250? Right? Is the market that sensitive? I doubt it. I don't think so.
Yep. Okay. Well, I smile because I've seen some of the wild appraisals come back with some weird, odd little $100 less than what the contract was, that kind of weird stuff. So I think you've got your head wrapped around the fact that there's a range there. It's not an exact number. So
no, $100 less, Doug. Yeah.
Well, thanks for the info, Ryan. Appreciate it. If you want to get some more great info from Ryan as far as just kind of Sacramento real estate market or just really interesting dynamics within real estate, he's got an excellent blog, sacramentoappraisalblog.com. You want to check out my information as far as a buyer or a seller in the Sacramento area, feel free to check out realestatewithdoug.com. Both of us are available to talk to you, and we hope to hear from you soon.